It was an impossible command. I mean, the man was dead, and he'd been dead for 4 days. And yet still Jesus stood at the grave and said, "Lazarus, come out." That's an impossible command. And yet Lazarus obeyed. He came out of the grave, but of course the power for his obedience wasn't in Lazarus. It was in the very command that Jesus gave. And what if all of God's commands work that way? What if the commands of God come accompanied with the power to bring about that which they command? Perhaps that's why the psalmist can say, "Oh, how I love your law." Here is the key to joyful obedience. Too often we make obedience about a list of rules that we must do, shoulds that pile up, give more, pray more, do more, love more, should, piling up and pressing down like a constant frown of a disappointed father. After all that God has done for us, we feel like we should pay him back. We owe it to him. It's our part of the bargain. And yet no matter how hard we try, the bar is too high. God's commands feel impossible. And we find ourselves frustrated and disappointed and crushed. But you know, that's not the way obedience is supposed to be. It really isn't. You know those commands that I can't obey? Jesus has done it. Every single one. Perfection in person. Every should is ticked and completed and greeted by the smile of a father who loves. This is perfect obedience, even to death on a cross. And Jesus obeyed because we can't. His obedience was for us. And as we trust him, his perfect record is given to us. His righteousness is counted and credited as ours, and that leaves us with nothing left to prove. We're right with God. And it's now as God's children that we learn to obey. And the commands of God are not dead words on a page that stand opposed to us. They're the words of a loving Father who promises the power to enable our obedience, our joyful obedience.